Again, with Nightmare on Elm Street. This is the third installment in the movie series. This came out in 1987. The budget on the film was just under $5 million. The box office was almost $45 million. So approximately 9 times its budget, which is great for horror film standards, especially slasher films. And I have to say, for me personally, I think that I give this movie about a 7.5. And let me just break down a little bit of it. And I'll tell you why that's my personal rating. So we go to the cast. And of course, Robert Englund is Krueger. Heather Langenkamp had reprised her role as Nancy Thompson, so she was the final girl in the first movie, and then she was absent in the second movie. And then unfortunately, she died in this one. And it doesn't really matter because I don't consider this spoiling, because the movie's been out for so long. 1987, you're talking over 35 years ago. So all my real horror fans, I'm 99 to 100% certain that have seen this. And if you didn't, well, okay, just rent it on YouTube or something. They did have it on Max recently, but I think that was only during Halloween month. Patricia Arquette, Rodney Eastman, Lawrence Fishburne, they played Kristen, Joey, and Max, respectively. Jennifer Rubin, Ira Hayden, they played Taryn and Will. Craig Wasson played Dr. Neil Gordon. During a hallucinatory incident, young Kristen Parker has her wrists slashed by dream-stalking monster Freddy Krueger. Her mother, mistaking the wounds for a suicide attempt, sends Kristen to a psychiatric ward, where she joins a group of similarly troubled teens. One of the doctors there is Nancy Thompson, who had battled Freddy some years before. Nancy senses a potential in Kristen to rid the world of Freddy once and for all. Now, the ratings on this movie are Metacritic, 49. Internet Movie Database, 66. Rotten Tomatoes, 68. And Google users, 88 to 92. And by the way, when you're talking about horror slasher films, there is no rid the world of Freddy once and for all, or Jason, or Mike Myers, or whoever else it may be, because that just like they say in Scream, that they keep coming back. They always come back. Now, I'll tell you right now, this, in comparison to the first two films, the first film easily tops it. It beats it out of the waters. The second one, I think, is almost tied with the third, but if I had to lean towards one, I'd say maybe the second. The third one, I would have to say, is some of it was cheesy, but it was still enjoyable. There were some comedic moments. I think the scene wherein Freddy morphed into the skeleton, and you had like this stop motion type picture imagery going on. It kind of reminded me of the scene from Mortal Kombat Annihilation when Liu Kang and Shao Kahn morphed into their animalities. And it's like, I can understand how that looks amazing back then, but to today's standards, it's like, this thing looks like it was drawn. There was also some martial artists, I don't know how to describe it. It's like jujitsu, combat, whatever. They were doing backflips and some crazy stuff. Even that looked a little cheesy. It was a little bit comedic, but nevertheless enjoyable. So the movie, like I said, I'll give it a 7.5 at most for right now. And I think that's pretty good for a movie like this. One review on here says let me go to the 3-star, because I didn't really see 1 and 2-star, and that's fine. This person says, I purchased a Blu-ray box set of Nightmare on Elm Street film series recently to review them, having only ever seen Freddy v. Jason. I liked the original, didn't enjoy the sequel that much, but I really liked the third one. Now the actual subtitle of the film is pretty cheesy, but the movie itself is really fun and has some very unique horror scenes. Yeah, to horror film standards, I mean, yeah, there were certain scenes in there that were unique to a degree. The special effects have improved drastically and now incorporates stop motion, which always looks scary to me. The horror scenes are very inventive, even more so than the first film. And the overall story I felt was more intriguing as well. Whereas the first film was trying to figure out who was killing everybody in their dreams, and the second one was about Freddy trying to escape the dreams and take over a mortal body. The third is a group of teens working together to try and stop Freddy. The return of Nancy Thompson was a smart move to keep it connected to the original film, and she leads the teens who all develop special powers within the dream world. Super strength, super agility, supersonic screaming. Freddy then has to get stronger himself to counter these teens and his attacks to start to get more and more inventive. Meanwhile, adults in the real world will try and find Freddy's skeleton to destroy it, hoping to stop the deaths that way. Blah, blah, blah. Final verdict. The first Elm Street was good, but I enjoyed this more as it's very inventive and over the top, which is what you want for a movie of this type. This is more the portrayal of Freddy Krueger I was expecting and didn't quite get in the previous films. I recommend it, but you do need to watch the original one first to familiarize yourself with a couple of the characters. Yeah, and I can agree with most of that. And I have to say that I was hoping that Common Sense Media would have their own article as far as like how they broke it down, because they do that with a lot of movies, shows, video games, even a number of things. So overall, I would say 7.5 for this movie. Heather Langenkamp, everybody else who was in here, great job. And I got more movies coming soon, so check this movie out. Right now, it's not on any major streaming. It was on Max, but that was recent. I think that was only for Halloween month, and I noticed they took off some of the other movies like the Jasons and the Chuckies and Halloweens and all that stuff. So I'd suggest rent or buy it on YouTube. Of course, you know me. I bought all the movies on YouTube, and I know all the real horror fans have already seen this. So, but in case a lot of you want to watch it again and go back and relive the old days, then here it is. So go ahead, check it out. And I got more movies coming soon.